Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Sunday, about 9:30 a.m. Getting ready to head off to a church service this morning. Just want to do a really quick update as we've seen models sort of progress over the last few days, a little bit quicker in forward speed. Looking at satellite imagery, true color here, you can already see that the system is starting to come together. You have convection firing just off of the Nicaragua coast, East Nicaragua coast, and just north of Honduras, and the Gulf Coast. And you can also see that's your low level right there. That's honestly a low level spin, and then you have your mid level spin over here. Remember that convection that was over here yesterday? Well, if we rewind it, when the front came, you can see the front here, up just to the southeast east side of Florida. It actually dragged whatever developed and dragged it towards Jamaica and towards the east. So this is kind of one thing I've been talking about as far as vorticity. See, when you have fronts like this in an upper level jet or strong upper level steering, sometimes the models tend to fail to project that well. So they'll tend to move your low level spin more west than actually what happens, because it's a push pull effect, right? When convection develops and it starts to rise into the upper atmosphere, it starts to feel the upper level steering. And when that happens, the thunderstorms get tugged towards the northeast, which is where the upper level flow is going. And so when that happens, it tends to pull at the low level. So your easterly winds, your winds coming out of the east that are pushing the flow of the low level spin towards the west, are doing that, but at the same time, the convection, the clouds that are attached to the low level spin, are being tugged to the northeast. So that's what I call a push pull effect. And so sometimes, depending on the strengths of the trough, the depth of the convection, it tends to end up further east than what the models are projecting. I think that's what we're seeing. You know, the GFS this morning came in a little bit west of last night, but just looking at IR, like I said, you can see the storm starting to come together. I mean, realistically, let's be honest, it's attaching itself to kind of the end of this tail. So we find that, and we just look at the overall here. We're gonna draw a picture here real quick. Let me go to my gallery. So you can see. Sorry, I'm not very good with this utensil. You can see kind of that broad spin, right? Like, you see the broadness. So typically in this type of environment, you know, it's like a tree. It's like a weed or anything. Like when if you look in nature, right? When nature is desperate, when nature wants to grow and do its thing, because we can't control it, even though we try. Like, you know, you hear of seedlings and stuff like that, like cloud seeding and stuff like that, which that's a whole nother topic. But nature always wins. Like, it doesn't matter. So in this scenario, if nature's going to do what it wants to do, and if it wants to create a storm, it's going to create a storm no matter what the conditions are around it, right? So even though there may be shear around it and other factors, it still can grow as long as it finds the right spot. Like, take it this way. When you look down your driveway, right, and you have a concrete driveway, or maybe even pavers in your driveway, you look at it, and in between those cracks, you see weeds that come up and they grow. And so, yeah, they find a little pocket, a little air, and they grow. So you got to think of it this way. And with a ULC over top of it, it's going to possibly align itself right underneath that upper level circulation, and it works in tandem. And then eventually you'll see the low kind of form right there, and eventually could go that way, right? So that is within the next 48 hours. We could very much see a tropical depression by, I'd say, at least tomorrow afternoon, and then quickly developing into a tropical storm come Monday. And then we'll really have to watch as it starts to work its way towards the Big Bend of Florida, or possibly the Panhandle, or maybe even as far as south of Tampa, like maybe near even Naples. This is a real-time watch and a real-time event. So let's go to the models real quick, and I'll go to the GFS, and we can kind of see this process occur. You can see the convection firing, trying to figure out where the low wants to go. So it's just doing that like rotation process, just kind of going round and round in circles until it tightens the low. So you can see that happen. You see convection being pulled off because of the front over here. So convection kind of gets pulled to the northeast as the low tries to form just off of the Nicaragua, Honduras coast right there. But the convection pulls it that way, so it kind of restarts that process again until eventually that low gets further away and that convection and that upper level steering doesn't pull it as much. But as you see that happen, you see a front over here kind of lingering around Texas. So there's not much room, in my opinion, for it to go west or east. Mostly just north. Obviously there could be a high pressure squeezed in here, maybe especially at the mid levels, that could possibly force this a little to the west. It just depends on the consolidation process. How strong does it get? How quickly does it develop? How deep does the convection get today? Does that convection pull the low a little bit more east, and do we see a little bit bumps east today throughout the models, depending on the real-time initiation process? There's a lot to watch. So let's move forward. And as you can see, already got a low pressure forming, likely a tropical depression in the Western Caribbean, just north of Nicaragua and Honduras coast. And then we move forward, and then it kind of, you see that push-pull effect. You see how it goes northwest right there, kind of northwest, and then it goes, northwest. I went backwards in time. And then you see it go east, right? And that's kind of a high over here, and it kind of working around, like, right? Everything's going to depend on the front over here, over over Texas, right? Like how deep does that get? Does it force the high to retreat to the northeast, or does it trap a high pressure here over Florida? Those are all questions that have to be answered in time. So realistically, I'd say beyond 72 hours, we don't really know. Even 48 hours, like realistically, that's how complicated the pattern is. So let's go ahead and look at North America. We'll look at our steering here. Let's look at the North Atlantic steering this way. Or you know what? Let's look at the CONUS. So we're going to look at our upper level. And you can see right there, that's plus 48 hours. That ridge gets squeezed right in there. Now, if we go back to the overnight run, okay, the ridge is still showing there. So maybe then we get closer into time. Okay, I think that's where I messed up. So right here, we'll look at the difference between here and the 00Z. You see the difference in the position of the high. It's a little further east, troughs a little further east, causes a storm to go further east. But I truly think it's going to depend on not only where the system, I think where the system consolidates and how much east or west it moves is going to depend on how all the pieces connect. So this is the overnight run. Look, you can see this is why the system goes into the Big Bend near Cedar Key, Florida. You can see the trough placement and how the pieces connect, right, and how it pulls it. That, to me, makes more sense. Now, we're going to look at the 060 because every model has its points, and I have to respect them. So now we look at the 060. You can see the high pressure has slid in. It's squeezed in. It cut off the front, and so the front lingered, and therefore once it got cut off, the high pressures kind of helped it kind of rotate, which therefore lifts the system more northerly into the Big Bend Panhandle region, eventually just kind of lingering, and you can see the cutoff and the low deepening over there. That to me just doesn't make sense. It just really doesn't. Our pattern has been very progressive in the sense of you see the flow, like for example, even when Francine came in, yeah, I guess it did kind of like stall around here. So that is possible. I really think it's a matter of the Panhandle of Florida, Gulf Shores Alabama, right there on the coast near the Panhandle, and then down into Naples. You really have to watch this trough, watch where the storm consolidates, and look at it there. So we'll go to the Euro real quick. I don't even know if the 6Z has come out just yet. I don't think it has. You can see the Euro and the GFS are in pretty good agreement as far as the 06Z and the 00Z Euro. So that's pretty good agreement right now, but things could very well change depending on how the storm behaves this afternoon. So yeah, just a lot to watch. Don't get caught up. Let's look at the vorticity chart here real quick. Don't get too caught up into anything, right? Here, actually, I don't like that page. I like this one right here. So this is a loop. I think this is the mid-level loop. Let's see here. 700 millibar loop. So yeah, I mean, that's the upper level. You can see the vorticity in the upper level. And my thoughts is maybe the upper level works to the low level. And you can kind of see here, just west of Jamaica, there's a decent sharp little vorticity signature maybe cutting off from there. And if that cuts off from there, maybe eventually something will try to develop as it works towards the north. Let's go to the 850 and 925 millibar, because that's really your low levels, right? So there's still really nothing there. Let's look at the loop here. I like to watch the loop. It kind of gets you an idea of how things are moving. So you can see the vorticity comes out of the EPAC and works through Central America and gets almost off of the Nicaragua coast there. You can see it much better when I zoom in. Watch it move here and then move up into there. Yep, you see that? It's kind of coming this way due to the low up here. It's pulling it. It's pulling it to the northeast. That low right here is pulling that vorticity that way. But eventually, as that moves out, it cuts it off, and the steering says it wants to kick it back this way. And then this front right here eventually comes in and pulls it likely through the Panhandle or Big Bend or even maybe Tampa, Cedar Key, Naples area. Lots to watch today, tomorrow. Not sure I have much more I can share with you at this time. Look at the 850 millibar. We can watch that, and you can start to see things slowly aligning, especially with the vorticity signature there off of the Nicaragua, Honduras coast. You see that's a little more west than the low levels, but eventually these will come together and align. You can see piece right there just west of Jamaica. That's maybe that upper level vorticity 700 millibar working towards the surface. So these are all going to dance around each other and eventually consolidate into one piece of vorticity. So anyways, just wanted to post a quick video. Guys, stay prepared. Really need to watch in real time. Nobody's really out or in just yet. There's no real solid forecast. So I'm posting this video to bring awareness, to let you know that, hey, my tone is, this is serious. You need to watch it. But at the same time, still not sure exactly where the landfall location is. So just keep praying. I pray that you guys can have peace during this time, and I pray that if there is anything that you may need to be prepared, that the Lord provides that for you. And you guys have to trust that that will happen. I know these storms can be scary, but at the end of the day, we just have to stay calm and get the things we need and focus on that and be realistic about it, right? Sometimes people go out and shop for months in advance, and that's just hoarding. We don't need that. We need people that are gonna maybe 2 weeks. You know, I think 2 weeks is good enough, and the rest we can rationalize. If something happens where we have to go beyond 2 weeks, we can come together as a community and you know, manage our food and resources. So just trust the people around you. Just trust God's plan, and trust that at the end of the day, everything will be okay, even if there's loss of property and life. And I know that that's a sad reality, but the truth is that this is a part of it, and this is a part of living life. And this is why I do what I do, is to try and get you guys prepared and get the information out there and be honest and truthful, and share my beliefs, form my own opinion, and not let other organizations, other meteorologists sway or change my beliefs. I stand strong in who Jesus is. I stand strong in my beliefs and my values. So when I do these videos, I speak with a sense of authority. So anyways, thank you for taking the time to watch. I hope you guys have a blessed Sunday. NFL football's on today. Enjoy it. Go Bucks. God bless, guys.